Morning, everyone. I think we're live. I mean, I say that every week. Just waiting for the first person to say they're watching. Yes. Hello, Melissa. Good morning. Actually, Melissa, I think it was you. Morning, Matt Parker. Posting his home church. Sneaky. Morning, Amy. Good to see you. Just been microwaving some tea, which isn't as bad as it sounds. I feel like I should explain myself now. I got up like a relatively good time and thought I'd come down and like prepare, set up a bit. And I also really needed a cup of tea. And this is one of the sad things actually about no longer being in residence at Chateau Maurice, is that occasionally, occasionally, like quite often, if I like slept in or was like still in bed after my dad got up, he would bring me a cup of tea in bed, but that doesn't happen in this household. Morning, Sarah Jane. Morning, Bill. Morning, Carol. So anyway, so I come downstairs to prep a bit, so I wasn't like last minute frantically like trying to find the title template to copy in for the video title and stuff like that. I had to work out what day of Corona Gate we're on. Anyway, so I started making a cup of tea, but then I had to go upstairs and have a shower and stuff. And so I'd left it, but so it had gone like not hot, so I was just microwaving raw like tea without the tea bag, not with the milk added. I think if you microwave it after the milk's added, it like tastes a bit weird. I think it must do something funny to the milk proteins or something. So anyway, there we go. That was that. One other thing I was going to say, seeing Melissa, I think last week I was talking about lockdown haircuts. No, what was that? What weird things you're having in your kitchen? Because this kitchen's like the funny chipboard stuff. In case people missed this last week, our kitchen, for some inexplicable reason, apart from perhaps very particular taste and sense of style, has these chipboard cupboards. And I was asking people, what's the weird thing you have in your kitchen? And I think Melissa said something about the oven being a mirror, and I was like, "What are you chatting, Melissa?" But then today, because I just had a shower and I needed to do my hair wax. This isn't completely natural, I should say. But the mirror in the bathroom is still steamed up. But this oven here, you can't quite see. You can see, yeah. Look, it is so shiny. It's basically a mirror. So I was completely take any spoken or unspoken derision of Melissa. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, Melissa. Maybe you did just have a mirror stuck to your oven door, in which case that is still weird. But I'm slightly more aboard of the whole oven as mirror thing. So there we go. Right, shall we? Amy's absolved me of my sins of microwaving milk, which is very microwaving tea. She says she even does it with milk, which is very kind of you to say. So let us roll the titles and then we can get cracking. I started quite far back this time. Wait for it. Timothy's. Anyway, there we go. Oh, that's fun. Has Andy been cleaning that? Has Andy been cleaning the mirror? I think, Matt, you underestimate or overestimate. I mean, you're estimating something wrong there. That's not like to happen. So, right, this week I have a slight dilemma in that no longer being in. Thanks, Amy. I know that was also something I prepared beforehand. Was rather than scrambling to find the right video on YouTube and then the right place and then it's all going slow because anyway. So yeah, thanks, Amy. I'm working on that. I still haven't got around to re-recording it, but I don't know. Maybe it's better to stick with the kind of spontaneous, slightly haphazard insertions. Okay, so yeah, so right, that was it. Melissa just said that her mum couldn't afford to take us to hairdressers, so a friend used to put a sort of chair in the kitchen. Our only mirror was the other door. So yeah, like, great shout, good enterprising use of the available furniture. Right, the problem I have now, no longer being in residence in Chateau Maurice, well, two things. One, I need to come up with a name for this house, because it's not as grand as a chateau, but I don't know, like, yeah, what other things do the houses get called? I don't know. Sometimes you get, like, really, if you go to like a National Trust home or something, sometimes they have like a little, like, a cottage. Well, it's not even a cottage. It's like a half mansion, or like a big family home kind of size in the grounds. It's like, oh, it's their like summer house or something, or like, so, or like you. Used to live in Berlin, and they had there's like some, you know, kind of palaces round about, and I think there was one of them that had like what looked like a quite substantial house in the yeah, that was it. It was quite a substantial house in the grounds, and it was like, oh, it's a summer house. Or like, you know, I think Prince Philip lives, because he's old and sort of retired from public life. When the Queen goes up to Buckingham Palace during the week, he lives. He doesn't bother going. He just stays at Windsor, which is like where they really like to live. And he lives in a cottage on the Windsor estate. But I bet if you saw the cottage, it would be like, it's not like a, or like two up, two down kind of thing that you might have like a little couple's holiday in, like, you know, the Cotswolds or something. It's probably like a full-on house. It's just like a cottage. So we've got some suggestions coming in. Right, let's have a look at these. Maison. Oh, I do like that, actually, with the French theme. Maison. You kind of have to do the whole thing with Maurice there, I think. Maison Maurice. Chipboard Cubby. The Maurice Mansion. Jamie's late. That's right. What have you? People just filling in Jamie on what's going on. Oh, okay. It's just people talking about how Jamie was late and didn't know what was happening. So, yeah. I kind of like Maison Maurice. But you've got to do the French Maurice. Anyway, right, we've not got on to Anyway Day Breakfast. So, a couple of things I wanted to talk about this week. Orange juice. Now, my parents normally have this. I wouldn't actually normally buy it necessarily, except on, like, bank holiday weekends. I would sometimes treat myself to, like, nice food. So I normally buy like a tub of olives, because olives are quite expensive and it's a bit of an indulgence. And I'd sometimes buy, or if I'd had a cold or something, I'd buy some orange juice, because I'm like, oh, it's a bit of a treat. I don't know what else I'd get on a bank holiday weekend, but yeah, olives would be like one of those tubs at like £2.30 or like £3 or something. But they're like mixed olives, and you just, you know, whenever you have like the munchies, you just open the fridge and have like a little snack. Anyway, so orange juice. I am a big fan of orange juice with bits, which actually my parents didn't have. They'd have like just normal pleb, like unbitty orange juice. But actually, orange juice with bits always makes me think of, we used to have family holidays going to France, and we'd get the ferry over like the afternoon, evening of one day, stay overnight in, normally it would be Portsmouth to Caen, stay overnight in Caen, and then drive down to wherever we were staying further down in France the next day. We always stayed at the same hotel, and they had, and it's like, you know, continental breakfast. It's like really nice, and they'd have like this orange juicer machine, which is just like, when you're a child, or you're like 10 or younger, like an orange juicer machine is just like out of this world, like just amazing. So, and you basically, they'd have some like oranges that were, I think they were cut in halves, and then you just, it's like a lemon juicer, kind of like that kind of shape, but it would spin automatically, and you just put the orange on, and then it's like all gone and turned into juice. Just amazing. So it makes me think of that. What's the comments? Amy's liking the olives. It's good. Matt's enjoying the French accent. So anyway, so orange juice with bits. It's made an appearance in some of my breakfast photos. Now the main thing I wanted to, also the other problem I had is that not being in Chateau Maurice anymore, I do not have as large a stash of posh objects available. So we may have to get a bit creative, or give me a bit of leeway on this. But I thought maybe I'd do like a mystery object. I need to have a route about. I think I've got some boxes under my bed that might have some interesting objects in, but I haven't had a chance to go there. So I've got this interesting object instead, and you have to guess what its purpose and function is. What is this for? I just say I first got one of these in my stocking, and then I had one for ages, and then it disappeared. I don't know where it is, so I had to get a new one. But they are quite cheap from your well-known online retailer. A stapler. Oh, Amy is very close with a stapler. It's not a stapler though. Jamie's gone with a mini stapler. It's not a. Interesting one from Scarlett. They said seals a bag. Matt suggested it might be a stapler for cinnamon buns, which is an interesting concept, but I think things to hold cinnamon buns together is called icing sugar or icing. Melissa is bang on the money. It's a single hole punch, as is Elisa, probably because I know certainly Elisa was very creative. Actually, Melissa was very creative because she's making these things without crisp packets. Yeah, it's a single hole punch. In fact, you can see. This is incredibly boring, I know, but there you go. You can see the little pole coming down there. Yeah, anyway, so it's a single hole punch, useful in some circumstances, like if you do crafts and stuff. Great. I'm sure there's been occasions when I need to like punch a single hole, but anyway, moving on from those two. So I've been quite excited. This is one thing where Maison Morris trumps Chateau Morris in, and that is the quality of the avocado tool. I should have got you to guess what this is as well, but anyway, I'm just too excited. So you may recall, that my parents had an avocado knife, which was like a kind of fairly blunt, just like kind of strip of metal with a kink at the end for getting into an avocado and getting around the kind of the bit where you've got the stalk at the end or something like that. I don't know exactly how it's meant to work. Maybe it was just like Lakeland making stuff up to see if they could rinse the middle classes for money. So yeah, some discussion just on the single hole punch. Skylar was saying for like one piece of paper. I think you might misunderstand. It's one hole, not necessarily one piece of paper. You could do more. I mean, yeah, it's not massive, but you could get like maybe 2 or 3 sheets or something like that. I'm sure I might have used it when. Actually, no. I can think of one purpose I used it for, which is incredibly sad. But when I lived in Berlin, because I was working for a charity, I had to keep all my receipts, and I used to also keep my underground tickets. So Berlin Underground, you get like tickets which are like a little piece of paper about that big. I don't know what size it would be, like bigger than a stamp, like anyway this big, and you get like, you could buy 4 at a time or 1 at a time, and you have to stamp it when you go to the station to then say like, I'm doing a journey now. So you can buy them in advance and then stamp them when you do your journey, rather than like on the London Underground where obviously you have Oyster, but then you also, if you don't have Oyster, you have to just buy a ticket at the moment. Anyway, so I had all these tickets and I wanted to keep them with my collection of receipts because they were kind of part of my spending. And I'd staple my receipts together, but these tickets were quite thick and there'd be quite a lot of them. So I used a single hole punch to punch a hole in the corner of them. And then I put a bit of string through them to tie them all together. So I had this like wad of like underground tickets on a string. It was very satisfying, especially when they all line up. I'll dig it out and show you like next week, and you can laugh at how incredibly sad I am. But yeah, if you ever want to know anything about my history of journeys on the Berlin Underground system, 2015 to 2017, let me know. Anyway, Amy's saying it adds a bit of roughage. I have no idea what she's talking about there. Avocados or like steak? I mean, I suppose if you ate the hole punchings, is that what someone's saying? Oh no, she's talking about Matt's still obsessed with stapling cinnamon buns. Like, I don't know what he's on, but yeah, if you did add staples to cinnamon buns, that would be a bit of roughage in that you'd have a very rough time digesting it. I'm not sure if it would. I don't think it would speed the process along in any way. Other than if you had to have your bowels medically evacuated to sort that out. Anyway, but if you get the hole punchings, that's kind of paper that's sort of wooden, pulpy. That might be good roughage. So anyway, avocado tool. So this is a I can't remember if it was a 3-in-1 or 4-in-1. I think I've seen one that was a 4-in-1. I can't remember what the fourth thing was. This is a 3-in-1 avocado tool by Joseph, who make very nice, excellent kitchen implements. So, step one is is the knife, which is this kind of like cute little plastic jobby that things out. So it's actually, I mean, it's kind of sharp. But anyway, so first thing to do, cut around your avocado. I'm going to go this way. I should have got a plate. Oh, I just realised I've not made the coffee. It's a disaster. I should also say, you know, you have those times sometimes when people come around to your house and you're like, oh no, I've not tidied it up or done the washing up. Well, today is one of those days, dear watchers, because you can see the vast. I'm going to do this way. Vast amount of washing up that has not been done. And also, we had pizza last night from Aquila, which is very nice. They do like stone baked pizza. They also do garlic bread, and apparently the thing to do, according to my housemates, is to order a pizza and a garlic bread, because then it kind of stretches over 2 days. You can have the leftovers for lunch or dinner the next day. So there's like 6 pizza boxes lobbing around. So anyway, let me just put the kettle on for the coffee, otherwise we're not going to be able to plunge to finish, which would be a tragedy and a half. On the topic of Aquila as a local business, my coffee at the moment is from where else? The Atkinson's Prototype, I think, which is the blend or the roast or whatever. Melissa's saying she doesn't consider this a vast amount of work again. Yeah, maybe not, but the trouble is, I suppose the vastness of your washing up depends on how much space you have to line it up in. So I just rinsing out the cafetiere because it was also not being washed up. We've got quite a very small strip of worktop next to the sink, so it quickly fills up. Yeah, a previous house I've lived in, you had like a worktop all down one side of the wall next to the sink, and so you could just like line up increasing amounts of like dirty dishes, and then stack them up and be creative and stuff. But what was really satisfying is if you then did the washing up and filled the draining board, you then like lay out tea towels to put the rest of the washing up to dry on, and how many tea towels you laid out was a measure of like how long have we not done the washing up for. So anyway, back to sorry, we were cutting the avocado in half and stopped mid cut. So this feels quite firm actually. I think it's supposed to be like ready to eat, and it was also reduced, which suggests it's like past it. But anyway, okay. So we cut around the avocado, and it's firm. Melissa's saying that it only counts a vast amount of washing up if you use the floor to stack your objects. I don't think I've ever gone to that extreme. So we've got like other bits of table or worktop around, but that would be quite impressive. I think my desire to tidy up would kick in by that point. Anyway, sorry, I just did that off camera. So we have the avocado. Now, I think this was actually a bit firm, so I'm gonna put that back together and leave it, because I actually have a half from that I ate earlier in the week. Here's what I prepared earlier, as it were. Now there is a bit of mould on it, but it's right. We'll just cut that out, because there's also the knife is quite useful for just trimming off the dead surface of an avocado that's been cut open and left for a couple of days too long. So just taking that off. Right, so we have our avocado. Now, the The second thing this tool has, have I heard the avocado song? I have heard the avocado song. Is it like you something the avocado? Yeah, it's not a great song. I have to say I'm not a fan. There's an old lady who's like doing something to an avocado, like peel the avocado, or just, and also like weird things that you don't do to an avocado. Right, so I'm just putting the coffee on. And my coffee scoops are all in the washing up, so I'm just going to guess how many teaspoons of coffee is. I'll write them out. Err on the side of caution. So, coffee is in. Oh, thanks for sharing. Oh, it was the guacamole song. Thanks for sharing that, Amy. I'm sure we could all. Right, just put the coffee. Lovely. Right, so we can plunge that in a minute or 5. Okay, sorry, back to the avocado. I know this has been very suspenseful. So, part 1 of the avocado was the knife, which we can put away, but obviously we'll have to make sure we wash it up and don't forget to wash that bit. Part 2, I just realised it's working its way up the tool, is the pit remover. Now, I think last time I did an avocado and I got stuck on the pit or something, and I think maybe it was Melissa suggested that. So there's this like trick you can do. Oh, yeah, great. Where to get rid of the pit, and in fact, because we cut away the dead bit, it's kind of sticking out anyway. But if you get a knife, like if you're using a normal knife to cut it, like this one, and you like kind of like hold it in your palm like this, and then like stab into the stone. So the knife gets wedged in, and then you could like kind of lever it out because it's kind of stuck to the knife. Now the danger with this, I have a friend, someone I know, who was trying to do this. I don't know how they do it, or maybe they were trying to stab it with the point of the knife. But basically, they put the knife through the thumb, so ended up in A&E, which is not like an avocado-induced A&E visit. Is like perhaps not how you want to spend your life. It's quite embarrassing and also painful if you have a knife through the ball of your thumb. So anyway, to avoid such issues, the avocado tool has this kind of thing in the middle. But basically the idea is that you, if I can do this without it falling out, yeah. So you put that on, and it kind of, the teeth kind of grip into it, so you don't have to, you could do it that way, it kind of fits around the stone, I suppose. Oh, it's so hard to show on the camera. And then you just twist it out using the, using that. There you go. Ta-da. No thumbs damaged. No embarrassing trips to A&E. Then of course, the last part. I should get a plate for this actually. Okay, the last part, which is perhaps the most obvious part, is I think I've got a little mold. Is the slicer. Now this is particularly useful if you want like avocado slices to like spread out on your toast or something in like little semi-ranks. Yeah, Melissa was pointing out the whole knife thing, doing it on a board, but I don't know. Anyway, somehow this person still, they would be doing it midair, but yeah, I think there is risk in like trying to whack your knife in and missing. So anyway, we've got the scrapery thing, and the idea is that it kind of follows the shape. I should do it this way around. This is so hard. I don't know how Blue Peter presenters do this. Well, I suppose you have a camera pointed down and you just do it. So you can see that it sort of fits in, and then you... It's going to drip on the floor. You won't worry. I'm going to finish it and then show you what it looks like. So, we've now gone all the way through, and we have our slices of avocado. And if I... Can you see that? Oh, trying to balance my camera in a very precarious position. Right. So I now have the slices, and avocado's also very messy. But you can see that here. If I had some toast, I could then spread them out, or I could get a fork and mash them up. That's not me. Keep the avocado to me. Anyway. So avocado tool. Now the funny story about the avocado tool is I did that very grown up thing, or maybe grown up. Maybe it's like a mum thing of where you buy like Christmas presents for yourself rather than to give to you. I was in a cook shop trying to find, I think, some balloon gin glasses for my sister, which is painfully middle class. And I saw this avocado tool. I was like, I like avocados. This looks useful. So, and I know I'm quite an awkward person to buy presents for, I think, because it's like, oh, what should we get Tim, like a book about maths or something, or like, oh, here's a Sudoku book. Not that I didn't like this, but so I was like, I'll buy a present for save someone else the hassle of having to think of something. So, Amy say, great way to eat avocado is to fill the hole with Liam Perrin's Worcestershire sauce. It's delish. That is a good shout, actually. Would you then just like eat it like with a teaspoon and get a bit of the sauce each time, or would you then mush it up with the Worcestershire sauce in? I'm curious about this because I quite like Worcestershire sauce. We've got some in the cupboard, I think. Well, fun fact for you: among the crazy things that go into Worcestershire sauce, it is really just like a mix of absolute random stuff that then shove in a barrel for like 18 months. Includes anchovies. Fun fact. So if you have a fish allergy, seafood allergy, don't eat Worcestershire sauce because you might die. Right, oh gosh, we're like on 26 minutes already. Right, very quick Bible thought for today. This is from Hebrews, which I've been reading. Start of chapter 2. Chapter 1 of Hebrews is kind of talking about how Jesus is greater than angels, and is like, Jesus isn't an angel, so don't think of him as an angel, but he's like better than the angels and is God. It's a very rough summary, and for us it's a bit like whatever, but for well, it should be, but like it's particularly pertinent for I think the people this was written to, there was kind of mythology around angels and potential angel worship, so that's why they talk about that. Anyway, then Paul's not Paul, the writer to the Hebrews starts chapter 2 saying, therefore we must pay much closer attention to what we have heard, lest we drift away from it. For since the message declared by angels proved to be reliable, and every transgression or disobedience received a just retribution, how shall we escape if we neglect such a great salvation? It was declared at first by the Lord, and it was attested to us by those who heard. While God also bore witness by signs and wonders of various miracles and by gifts of the Holy Spirit distributed according to his will. The therefore obviously links back to what's come in the chapter before. I haven't quite kind of completely got my head around the link, but certainly the one important thing to draw out is just this first verse. Therefore we must pay much closer attention to what we have heard, lest we drift away from it. And I was kind of struck by this this kind of pay much closer attention versus the drift away. So you've got kind of like these basically like two options, like do you pay closer attention and move closer, or do you drift away? And I don't know whether the writer meant to kind of set those up as, or whether it's really too much to say those are the only two options you have in the Christian life. And maybe say more, it's like if you don't draw closer, then you have a risk of drifting away. But I think there is some truth to that. I remember someone saying once that one of the problems we have as Christians is that we mar Jesus in our minds over time. And what he was getting at was that you hear a sermon or a really great talk, or you're at a Bible conference or something, and you come away with a really clear picture of what Jesus is like, and you're like, oh, this is great, yeah, like I've got it. And basically over time we're just forgetful, and our kind of hearts have drawn away, and I suppose because Jesus is so extraordinary and unusual and unimaginable, in the sense that like really hard to make a character up like Jesus. Like he's just so particular are different. That it's not like we can just like kind of imagine our way to what he's like. It's not a kind of it's not a natural thing, and especially living with our old sinful natures, we're not inclined to kind of naturally inclined to go that way anyway. And so there's just kind of this constant need to be like, I guess, like pressing refresh, like hitting F5 on our picture of Jesus, and I guess like, and also the gospel and other aspects of faith as well, more generally, that we could really easily, I'm sure we all have this experience where we have these moments where we suddenly realise we've been not living by grace through faith, but we've kind of become legalistic and turned into little Pharisees, and we're trying to like justify ourselves, and then you have like, you listen to a sermon or you read a verse or something, you're saying like, oh yeah, that's the whole point. That's what the gospel's about. That's the whole point of this. Like how, and you just feel so stupid, and you want to like, if you're in a group Bible study, you want to share like, I've just had this amazing revelation, but it's like, literally like, Jesus died for us. We don't have to earn our way to heaven, and like, this is like Christianity 101, but like I've forgotten it, and it's come to me anew. But I'm sure we've all had experiences like that, which I guess just kind of demonstrates the point that we just need to be constantly refreshing and renewing and reminding ourselves of the great salvation we have, because I guess because it's not a natural thing, like unnaturally we're liable to drift away. And I was going to try and come up with a good analogy for this. The thing it reminded me of is something I read once. I think someone inspired by Shaun of the Dead, wondering whether this is sort of from a mathematical disease modelling point of view, because actually you can model disease spread in a relatively crude, simple version. It's actually quite easy to do for like, or at least for an undergraduate mathematician or maybe someone with A level. And they were asking the question, I think inspired by Shaun of the Dead, could you get a situation where there was like a zombie outbreak that just kind of carried on like perpetually? Like, so there's this kind of low level of zombies among the population, and then every now and again they affect a few more zombies, and then but like it doesn't overrun the population, but neither does it completely die out. And basically, if you do the maths and the calculations, you discover that basically there are only two like kind of solutions to this set of equations that describe how that happens. Either the whole population is overrun and becomes zombies, or the whole thing's like stamped out. There's no kind of like middle ground, drifting, like holding course between those two options. And this doesn't apply necessarily for other diseases. I'm not trying to make a point about the current circumstances. And that may not make any sense to anyone else apart from my maths brain. But anyway, I was struck before. There's no middle ground. There's you either, I think, over time just have an increasing risk of drifting away, even if it doesn't happen straight away, or you have to choose to actively draw closer. And I guess it comes with this warning that since the message declared by angels proved to be reliable, and every transgression or disobedience received is a just retribution. And I think he's making the point, like looking through Bible history, you see people who neglect God's message receive their punishment, or we see the consequences of that played out. And I was quite striking to say that it's like every transgression. I don't quite know what exactly it's referring to there. I mean, my guess would be kind of Bible history, but it's basically saying like, you look at the evidence of the past. We like God's kind of record on this is reliable and kind of serious, so we don't really want to think about the consequences of neglecting this salvation. And I think it's just helpful for all of us. I know I've had times in the past couple of months just being very busy with coronavirus related things where I've not been as diligent with my personal devotions as I should be. And I know that like, it does make a difference. You find yourself thinking and behaving in ways that you're like, actually this is like not how we're called to live, and there's a better option available as well. So I guess encouragement this morning to it's quite simple really, but like draw closer, find time to spend in the Bible and prayer, because it is not a natural thing that just happens without some effort and input on our part. So yeah, that's thought for this morning. I think this is now like possibly the longest ever breakfast at Timothy's, and we just are like we just cut 5 avocado slices. That's all the progress I've made on breakfast. But I will make the rest of it afterwards, and I'll post that photo. Apologies to anyone who's not friends with me, because those are on my personal Facebook, but just send me a friend request and you'll be able to see them. So I just see what Amy said. Either loves one. Yeah, that's true. So Amy said that it's like a spiritual battle, either evil has won or Jesus has won, and we know Jesus has won. So yeah. Draw closer, I suppose is the answer. Anyway, here we are, plunging coffee, Atkinson's prototype roast, which is very nice. It tastes like kind of slightly fruity. Yeah, so that's it for this week. Have a good Sunday, everyone. Don't forget to tune in at 10:30 or slightly beforehand, 10:20 for Sunday service. And I'll see some of you in post-church refreshments. Bye.